y'all, it's Laura Rose here on the Rose Coverage channel, talking to you about week 4 of recovering your sense of integrity. This chapter was really short. I feel like, honestly, you could see like how far I am in the book. The first 3 chapters were like almost half the book long. This one was a lot shorter. So hopefully my video will be shorter, and I didn't smoke this time, so I won't be as rambly. Maybe. We don't know. We will find out. Okay. I'm going to jump right into it because some of the things that I worked through this week tie really well with what I'm talking about in the chapter. So I'm not going to talk too much about my week. I'll do it throughout the chapter. So first thing she talks about in this chapter is morning pages. And I will be really honest with you guys. I do them on average 3 to 5 times a week. I'm not doing them every day. A personal issue I have is just ruminating a lot. And I feel like it's really common with videos and just sitting and scrolling on social media and stuff like that. It's kind of a way for me to personally ruminate or check out from the ruminating without dealing with the problem. So, I personally don't feel like it's helpful for me to journal if I don't have anything to journal. Especially too, it takes me a while to journal. I don't know about you guys, but when I do the morning pages, it will take me at least an hour. Which feels like a lot of time. I don't know if I'm just trying to think too much before I write down, or process before I get it down on paper, or I don't know, but it just takes me a really long time. So I think I'm going for quality, not quantity. And it's taken me a while, but I've gotten into a good rhythm of and outside of this book and everything too, when I journal or do my morning pages, it's because I need to process something, or it's my reaction now. I've trained myself for the reaction of I have big feelings. I don't know what to do with them. I will journal, because before it would just be I don't know what to do with them. And then I'd try to live my life in chaos, and not it. So, so that's just my interaction with the morning pages. I do them 3 to 5 times a week. And that's something she really talks about in this chapter is use your journal to process your feelings. Use your journal, you should never avoid journaling because you don't feel like it. If that makes sense. I think, very specifically, she said crabby, but I feel if you're I'm too moody, because I don't feel I get when I'm angry, I'm more likely to journal than when I'm sad. Which is kind of an interesting interaction of parsing out by emotion of what's your natural reaction to each emotion. And that might help you also identify emotions too. So lots of thoughts. But basically she said you should never be too moody or too crabby or too whatever to journal. Journaling should be the most natural thing, one of the easiest ways to cope. It should be a natural reaction to want to journal or to journal while you're doing it. And so you should never avoid them because of your feelings. And then another aspect of that is for journaling and morning pages to be effective, which I'm having a lot of thoughts too of my journaling journey. For them to be effective, you should never use blanket statements or large statements about your feelings or about experiences. Be specific. Her example she uses is saying I'm okay. I'm feeling okay. What does okay mean? Does okay mean content? Does okay mean happy? Does okay mean sad? Does okay mean depressed? Be specific about your emotions and what you're experiencing, and be honest too. Which I think people, like, it should sound like, it sounds to me something like, yeah, you should be doing that naturally. Like that's the whole point, is like, you get whatever your thoughts are on page, and you're not judging them, there's no expectations, like you don't even have to solve them within the pages, like solve or process, or you should be processing, but solve or like come to a conclusion within these pages. Like it could be something that you do outside of journaling. Not to say that if you do that in journaling, that's great, fantastic. But that was kind of something I struggled with when I first started journaling, and again, going back to like the ruminating, is I was like, I just feel like I'm like reiterating events and just like reliving them basically, because I am just writing down exactly what happened to me, but I wasn't doing any I was like doing a little bit of reflection, but it was always already reflection I had done in my head. It wasn't like anything new when I got it on paper. And so like that type of journaling wasn't really helpful. And I think that's what she's trying to say with like, be honest and be specific. So, so one of the tasks she has at the end of the chapter, in relation to that, is to write yourself. And I think this is something I feel like would be really good for your morning pages if you don't necessarily know what to do, if you need to like fill days in for your morning pages because you're trying to do them every day, is write a letter to your 80-year-old self. Well, first describe your 80-year-old self. Like, who do you picture they are? Where do you picture they're at? What do you picture their lifestyle, their life to be like? Etc. That type of stuff. And then you'll write your 80-year-old self a letter telling them like, mine was framed in I'm proud of you for these things. I'm proud of you for doing these things. I'm proud of you for like developing these qualities in yourself and becoming this type of person. And if you do any like manifestation stuff, like I like to like set goals and manifest through like letters to the universe. So it was very similar to that, of just like, this is where I want to be, this is who I want to be, this is the community I want to have when I'm 80. And I don't know, it made me very excited about that. I'd also like put in perspective too. I was like, I definitely have like for a really long time, like even in high school too, like felt like I was like behind, and I like didn't, like I wasn't like, kind of like she said earlier in the book, of like, oh, I'm too old to pursue this, or it's too late for me to do this thing, or pursue this art, or whatever. And even like within social media, like I've been trying to like be consistent and do social media things literally since my freshman year of high school. So it's been like 10 years now that I've been like fucking around with social media. And this is the first time, like this past like year or so, it's the first time I've ever like actually been serious about it and trying to build up into like posting regularly, which is a goal for this week for me. Is I would like to post every day from this Thursday to next Thursday on TikTok. I would like to do one post on Instagram, and obviously I'm doing YouTube, and I've gotten into a really good schedule of that. But especially too, I think which people talk a lot about, like with social media, like I think I had really struggled to get over the hump of like, it took so much work to put in to like get one post out, or to do even like these, like the first couple chapters doing these videos. It was like I spent my entire week like stressing and trying to get that shit out, and doing it on the schedule and doing all these things. And first of all, at the end of the day, like it's not like I have a ton of followers or any followers on YouTube right now, so it's just for me. And just being consistent and showing up is better than being perfect or trying to like control and like meet these expectations that aren't really realistic. So I think too, like within the like post daily on TikTok and even in this video, like I like part of my reflections of this week were I think I'm in a spot where I'm more authentic than I have ever been in my entire life. And I'm really proud of that. But I think even still, like within that authenticity, like I'm kind of reserved and I'm still like have that fear of like judgment. And I think I worked through the fear of judgment from people I don't like. I'm squeaking so much in the chair. I've worked through judgment from people I don't like. And I feel like I'm in a really good place of like, you know, I don't value your opinion, therefore your opinion doesn't matter to me. But if I value your opinion, then like it becomes gospel, if that makes sense. So I think that's something that like I really want to work on and even and too like within the people I do like I've been working a lot over the past couple of years of like working through the people pleasing tendencies and just the constant like chameleon thing that I've like developed of like, okay, I'm like this person with these people and this person with these people and these are my expectations here and I have to meet those expectations of being this type of person. And I just don't want to put my energy towards that anymore. And I'm excited and want to find out like who my authentic self is, which brings us back to the chapter of discovering who that authentic self is. And again, like doing the things that you want to do, you need to do, standing up for yourself, etc., to these crazy makers or shadow artists or critics or whatever, but also doing that to people that are like are on your side and are supporting you. And it doesn't have to be done in the same way, but still being authentic, still keeping your goals and keeping your like end mission and goal true to what you need and what you want, while still like having an open conversation with the people around you of like, hey, can we change this? Hey, I don't like that kind of thing. And I think, and again, that's something she talks about in this chapter a lot is like once you kind of surrender to like, I am going to be authentic, you kind of have this moment where she calls it a spiritual emergency or surrender. It's Kaya. I'm dyslexic, so please be kind. But it's the specific word that means spiritual emergency or spiritual surrender. And basically what it is it's your body like crashing out after dealing with mental and emotional burnout. I really, so I had this in like 2022 to like 2023-ish. 2021 to 2023, if we're gonna be honest. Prior to that, I graduated college in 22. So it was like my senior year of college. I had gotten a full-time graphic design job after I finished like full-time classes basically. And like leading up to that, I had done college sports and had a job and was working a job and was a full-time student who was an art student, which means there's a lot of like time-consuming homework versus like somebody who can like cram for a test or knock out a paper in a couple hours. Like art just like takes dedicated time, and rushing through it isn't gonna like get you a better result or get you a more efficient result. So, and that was before. Then I was a full-time student, still kind of doing some softball things, not nearly as much. And also like working my full-time job, which was like a whole ass job. Like prior I was working like a couple different like odd jobs where it was like part-time jobs and things like that, which luckily were flexible, but obviously like was still a lot. So, and then my parents were just like the type of people growing up where like we did not have days off. Like we were filling any time we had, we filled it with something. We either went out and did stuff, which to a certain extent like I was really happy with, and I don't like, I know a lot of people in my community that like didn't go on vacations, or like, why would I leave Missouri? What's the point of that? Or like just didn't take time to like, my small town was like an hour away from Kansas City. So they would like, they just didn't go to Kansas City for any events or anything. And my parents like made sure we did that, but also we were doing like competitive sports, and everybody was like going to school because my parents were teachers. So we were going to school like full time, all on the same schedule and that type of thing. So I was just really fucking busy and filled with a lot of things. Like my time was filled. And on top of it too, a lot of it was stuff that I didn't really necessarily like want to do or care about. Which was good preparation for stupid jobs. But basically I had in like 21 to 22, I had this like identity crisis where it's like, I'm on this path of like doing softball, doing this graphic design thing, doing all this stuff. And those are all things I picked to please other people. Those weren't things that I picked because I wanted to do those things. And I don't know, it was really difficult because there was a huge process of like not only integrating like who I wanted to be, who I felt like, and discovering who I felt like I was and my identity. But also it was like setting boundaries and sharing with other people, this is who I want to be, this is who I am, and you have to accept that. And integrating those relationships to accommodate like the person that I am truly, rather than the person that was like people pleasing other people. And she talks about that in the book, which I think she does a really good job of talking about how she does this analogy of like, when you discover your identity is not basically who you really are, it's like getting in a car crash and then for a while you like don't have a car, so you're just kind of like floating around, walking around, and you don't have a car. And I think it even goes further too of like, I had definitely had a time period too where I was like, it's kind of like getting a rental car, of like trying out different personalities before I like committed to like, okay, this is how I want to deal with this situation, and this is how I want to do this thing. And even now, like I don't feel like I have like, this is who I am, this is my sense of identity, is all tied up in this one thing, which is good. Versus like prior to that, like it was very tied up in like specific things of like, I'm an artist, I am an artist, and if I'm not creating art constantly, then who am I? Or that type of thing. And so basically she talks about this car crash analogy and how like it's like it is traumatic to lose like a version of yourself. And there is a whole like process of like integrating it and understanding and discovering like who that person was, why it didn't work out, and who do you want to be, and how do you want to deal with like life situations. And I just really love that. I love any like aspect of like self-reflection, self-discovery type of thing. So that was really interesting. That was one where I was like, oh, Julia girl, you got me real good. And I don't know, I felt right. But so if you are like really struggling with that, or you're thinking about that, like it literally took me 3 years to like go through that process. And the first year and a half, 2 years, I literally slept like 12 hours. Like I would sleep 12 hours. Like I would take a nap after work, and then I would go to bed at like 9 or 10 and then get up at like 9. Maybe more than 12 hours. I don't know if I was napping, but I was sleeping a lot. I know I would at least go to bed at like 9 or 10 and then not get up until like 8 or 9, which already is like 10, 11 hours, depending on the math there. So give yourself grace for that. Which brings us back to the chapter. Fill your cup up. And kind of what I was saying last week too, of like discovering of like, set myself up for abundance. Don't set yourself up for just enough, because that's lack. Set yourself up for abundance. Like if you fill your cup, if you take care of yourself, if you do the morning pages and the artist date, you may not notice like growth right away, but eventually you'll notice, hey, I journal when I'm sad. I journal to process things instead of like being reactive to things. And just, I am making movement forward, even though it doesn't necessarily seem like I am. And setting myself up for abundance creates more enjoyment in my process and that kind of thing. So I think that's my main thoughts. Oh, finally. She, at the end of the chapter, this was the part that really annoyed me. Which, not for the reason, she got up on her fucking high horse for this shit. And was like, everybody has problems with this and nobody wants to do this, but guess what? Tough love. And, basically what she asks is that you give a week, which that's something too of like, I struggle with the timeline of this, because I like on a weekly basis, like most of the time I will like read and take notes like Monday, Tuesday for the chapter. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are usually my like reading, take notes time. And then like Thursday, I will make this video, and Friday I'm editing it, and then Sunday it comes out. But I guess like I've kind of struggled because most of the time I'm not processing like the information really until like I do my like script for this video. And I don't know, it just feels weird because it's like kind of like the timeline, she asks you to do a lot of things on like a week-to-week basis, and I just like, I don't know, like I'm reading the book throughout the week, and by the time I'm done with it I have like 3 days left in the week. So like I guess I feel weird about her being like, don't read for a week, and it's like, well, what do you mean by that? Like, I just learned, so do I need to wait until, I mean, like, my plan is to just, like, wait until next Thursday. Like, considering Thursday to Thursday my week. But I don't like that. It's not clean. I'm gonna do it. But, so that wasn't my issue with her. In the reading deprivation thing. But basically she says reading deprivation, the point is to give your brain a rest and allow it to process the information you got. Because you don't, like, the reason you get burnout is, one of the reasons you can get burnout is the, like, aspect of, like, being, which this was definitely something that I experienced, like, during my, like, discover my identity phase of, like, do not inundate yourself with information. If you are constantly putting information in, then, like, it's just like going in one ear and out the other one. You're not, like, really processing, you're not, like, taking it in, and you're not integrating it into, like, life. Or just, like, your mindset, your thought processes, your creativity. And so you should be giving yourself time, like, your brain breaks. And she really, like, focuses on reading, which I feel like would be different now. I think I would focus on, more on, like, social media. I prefer to do audiobooks, and I do one book at a time. I'm not reading, like, multiple books at a time. Even, like I'm, like, that goes from, like, nonfiction to fiction. Like, I'm only reading one book at a time. And this is my book I'm reading right now. So this task wasn't really hard, but there was something where, like, part of her, like, explanation was, like, people hate doing this and they don't want to read and they feel it's stupid, and it's like, I don't know. I just felt like she was really on her high horse for that shit. And so basically my suggestion would be to give yourself time daily. But also, like, this would be a good week to, like, kick it off of, like, not scrolling through social media, not watching TV, not reading, not filling your mind and your head with content. And even too, like, I think for a while, like, going back to, like, my struggle with this is, for a while I was like, well, if I curate my algorithm to be more educational about, like, self, therapy, art experiences, that kind of thing, professional, like, how to be a professional in art, it made my algorithm more enjoyable for sure, but also in the same vein too, it was like I couldn't get on there for a while, like, I couldn't get on social media without feeling like I should be doing all these things, I should be learning all these things, I need to, like, be, like, absorbing all these things, and it was just too much. It was just, like, too much inundation of information. And that's something too, like, a lot of this book is just, like, it was the way she delivered the message that I didn't like, but I do think there's value in the content. So basically the whole reading deprivation thing, the goal of it is to make yourself bored. Because when you get bored, then you find ways to entertain yourself and to discover, like, the playfulness within you. And I really like that. I think that's something that, like, one of my other creative friends, we talked a lot about, of, like, they're people who gravitate more naturally to, like, creative experiences or, like, hobbies in general, who have, like, hobbies, are able to deal with boredom so much better than people who like, crave external structure on those types of things. But I loved that it was a shorter chapter. I'm excited to move along with this process and keep moving forward. I don't know, a lot of thoughts and feelings. I'm kind of proud of myself and glad that I have this many thoughts and feelings on this, because I think 2 years ago I would have been like, I have no thoughts, I have no feelings, I have no reflection. It would have been like a self-bullying thing of like, you're stupid because you don't have any extra thoughts on these, or you have no opinion because you have no identity, and et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know. I'm really excited for that. I'm really hopeful for that. Thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful day. Find my other videos on my channel. Like and subscribe. Love y'all. Goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Have a great day.